capture this. If someone's trying to get a sense of year over year, if you go to that, you can run this and you can drill down on a specific town and stock of property, whether it's single families or multis. I'm pretty sure. I guess I'm wrong there, but you can run the town. So if you run that, it takes a second, but these are pretty comprehensive. It's about 6 pages. So if someone says, well, what did it do last year? This is a good place for you to start. Oops. So last year there were 58 units. You'll see the inventory was almost cut by a third. Average days on market's on par where it was last year. I don't like average when I'm talking to clients. I actually like to flip it to median. I think it's a better perspective. Average will inflate the value a little bit, particularly in a town like Walpole, where you might have this wide range of something at 400 all the way up to like North Walpole at 1.5, or Kathy Hassenjager's Arlington, which are like 1.3. So when you start averaging it, the numbers get skewed. Here's median. Also, you want to be careful with these reports. You don't want to show too much on, if you're showing these to a $400,000 buyer or seller, you want to carefully kind of select what you're choosing, because now this could get you into a position where, well, that house is $599. You're trying to avoid that argument. And I'll show you in the next report how you can kind of isolate brackets. But this is a decent report just to get a holistic view of the market specific to one town. It does have some graphs. I've talked about social media plays. If you are trying to boost your Facebook or whatever you do, when you get something on the screen, there's tools like Lightshot, LIGHTSHOT, which is a screen capture tool, and it lets you do this. And you can actually copy that. And then when you go over to Facebook or wherever you go, when you go to do a post, you can paste that right into Facebook. So if you have a business page or a profile that looks like that, see, so that's one way to kind of up your social media game while you're doing this. Whenever I do a market report or I'm about to engage with a client, I kind of go through this process. I go through all of these market reports. I then am thinking, okay, so if I am doing this work, is it reusable and can I use it elsewhere? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking, okay? Or if I'm doing a market analysis and I'm collecting material that's generic enough, not specific to the house, and I can use that to broadcast onto a social media platform without revealing that it's Andy Freeze and his wife, then I'll use that to kind of get a little SEO and visibility. So this is one example, and I'll just put test here and you'll see. So you kind of want to think like that. I'm going to take that down because I don't want that on my personal profile. I don't put real estate stuff on my personal profile. It's just not what I do. So going back, the next report that I like, and Janet confirmed this one with me, she's a big user of it as well. And if I say anything that incriminates you, you can reach over and hit me.
I will. I'll throw something.
But Janet came in yesterday and we reviewed this one. This is one I love. So let's say that Andy calls me up and he says, geez, I'm in North Attleboro. We're thinking of selling our house. I really don't know much about North Attleboro. I kind of live in this world right here because I'm here with you guys and I live in the next town over. But I always felt confident that I could go anywhere with this report. So The report that I like to run is in market reports. And when you run it, it's called new report. You run new report, and then there's a drop down, and it's called area market survey. So again, tools, market reports, and theoretically I am recording this, so we'll have it, and I'll try to slice it up so you can see it. And then you click new report, and the report that I like is called area market survey. Okay, so now Andy lives in a single family house, so I'm going to choose single family. Janet and I had a little bit of difference of opinion yesterday. I always just run it for 3 months. She said sometimes she'll run it a little longer depending on where the conversation's headed. So for me, I always run 3 months. Then I type in the town, get it over here, and then Andy, I kind of know where you live. Would you say your neighborhood less than 500,000?
In that neighborhood?
All around there?
I'd say less than 6. What's that entire subdivision I'm in probably goes up to high 6s.
Okay.
Around the corner for me, but yeah, I would say it's like 7 and under.
Okay. All right. So the reason I ask, if I'm going into a specific neighborhood, I try to go to list price, and I try to put a range. So in this case, Andy says it goes to 7. I might show from 450 to 700,000. And the reason I do this is because if I leave it unrestricted, it shows everything, and there's no ceiling. And if I lift the ceiling or raise it too high, I've often found in 17 years I get into arguments. So I try to make it contained. Because it's like, you know that sticker that says my kid's an elementary student at the Johnson Middle School? Every parent has that sticker. I don't want to get into that argument. So in this case, this is what this report looks like when it comes back. So we put some wraps around pricing. So we're running North Attleboro the last 3 months. List price 450 to 700, which I think is still a little wide, but it will give you an idea of what I'm going to show the client. So currently there are 11 properties on the market with an average market time of 29 days. I skip over price changes when I deliver this, and I go right to sales. So we know that there are 11 properties on the market. This is a 3-month report. Anything I show them on sales is divisible by 3. So there's 11 sales per month. In North Attleboro, they're getting 97% of their original price. If you look at this header, it says sales price versus original price. And over here, it's sales price versus list price at the time of the sale. There is a difference. So they're getting 3% off their original price and 99% to their reduced price. However, I skipped over this section, which shows the price changes. There have been, so this is where this becomes important to sell this to a seller who's having difficulty when you're showing the property and you're not getting an offer. 30 properties were reduced 52 times, on average 4.75%. So that shows you the price reduction right there. And 3 months is going back to July. Anything that closed in July was the spring market. That's why I don't like a 6-month perspective, because it goes too far back. Your one whole market cycle. I mean, Harry, in the mortgage world, do you see new people appear for pre-approvals? You'll start seeing people in January again.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So it's totally different So this is a weird time of year because now anything that closed on 7/17 was probably on the market in May, June, when things were blowing out the door. Now we're starting to see a shift. So you've got to watch, you've got to be able to explain that. And where they'll get excited, particularly a seller that you're talking to as well, they're getting 99% of their asking price. But you have to go back up and you have to show them, well, look at the price reductions right now. Janet, is there anything in these reports that you like to add on? This is the one I use predominantly.
The one I like to do, which compares 1 year to another year.
Yeah.
And that was used, I use that, Harry would agree, when the market had, the early 2000s, 2004, 5, the market went way up. Then we had the crash in 2008, 2007, 8, 9. So those people that bought in 2004, they want to put their house back on the market in 2010. And they said, wait a minute, I paid a lot more. Why are you telling me that when I paid $500, it's only worth $450? So I'd say, well, this is what happened between 2004 and 2010. So you can compare those numbers and say, it's not just you. The market went down because of the crisis. And so, no, you're not going to get what you paid for. And that deterred a lot of people from putting a house on the market. So that was, in a situation like that, it was very effective because people didn't believe you when you gave them a number. Mm-hmm. Right, Harry?
Correct.
So that one, I think, I'm just trying to look, I think that would be total solds.
Yes.
Single family.
Then you have the start date and date.
Right, so you can
choose
a time frame. And what Janet was saying is that now she's in an advisor role where they're saying, I don't know if I should do this. I'm thinking it's better than it is. Janet's trying to tell the truth and say, no, it's really here. So we're taking a wider frame so that the report is total market stats. So if you go into tools, market reports, click new report, it's total sold market statistics, single family, choose time frame. So you can use a larger date range. So let's say 10, 17, 2016 versus 10, 17, 2019. Walpole. So this will just show you, well, didn't do the report I was thinking, but there is a report that will show you a time frame side by side. I chose the wrong one, but if you dig around in there, it'll show you year over year. Hello.
Hi.
Good. So I would get comfortable with these reports. MLS does have a class that they do run periodically, and they have webinars. I would start to dig in there. Again, your role is to be an economic advisor, right? Not a lot of people have a lot of money in the bank, but they have a lot of money in their house. And they're more apt to interview more agents, get more advice, and go with a trusted advisor when the economy tightens up. The people that just got licensed in the last year, they're going to be at risk. They're going to be more at risk if you can preach this type of message.
The one you want is called On Market Snapshot. From 1 year ago.
Yep.
That's the one that you want.
So new report, On Market Snapshot, single family.
1 year ago.
1 year ago. This is the side by side.
That should be pick a town. I just did it.
Yeah, so this is a good one. This will show you a snapshot in time.
So that shows you from a year, you can see, okay, 10,000 in 2018, go down to the bottom, you'll see the lowest price, the median price by 654, compared to right now, it's only 599. So if somebody, you could say as proof to somebody, okay, the market has gone down from a year ago. And then you have the days on market, which is 58 to 30 average. So you can, they say you can make numbers say whatever you want it to say.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you want to say, okay, the market's going down, you do this. If you don't want to say it, don't do it.
Correct.
Or pick a different time frame.
You have to pick your tools in your discussion properly.
So yeah, it's sort of like, it's true. You can make numbers say whatever you want them to say.
This one where you have to be careful if you look at this, you're talking to a seller. They think they have the honor roll student and they own a bumper sticker on their car. See the volume? It's way down. So they would think, that this is a good time for me to put my house on the market.
Like I said, you can sell it any way you want.
Right. But that's so that's MLS. Another report that I like in MLS that's readily available that a lot of people don't see is if you look at the top screen, I don't know if you have tiles set up. Mine is in the quick links, and it's the economic market report. And this has Q2. There's a little bit of lag time here. And this is statewide, so it's 41 pages. But it will drill down on counties and zip codes, so I'm pretty sure we're around page 27. Okay, yeah. It's alphabetical by county. So here's Norfolk County. And again, this is a nice little social media kind of thing, right? You could grab this little piece. And anyone who's taken any classes with me know that my specialty is what they call R&D. Does anyone remember that? What's R&D?
Research.
No. So you haven't paid attention to my class. Do you know what my R&D is?
I've never heard it before.
Rip off and duplicate. So it's already done for you. So again, I would use a tool like LightShot. And LightShot can do things like this.
Or Snippet does it.
Snippet, if you're a Mac user, it's built in, I guess.
No, Snippet has regular non-Mac.
Shift Control Command 4.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Harry, are you getting anything out of this? Not yet.
Yep.
Just paying attention. So this is good, but this is a little laggy. It's almost 2 quarters behind. But I like this report, and if you go down here and you're in a specific zip code, this report can work to your advantage sometimes because it's got these up and down arrows. So it's a nice little visual sometimes if you're trying to get a point across. So 02081. You pick and choose what you're going to use. So here, median price was up 6%. Percentage of original price 98. When I would use this type of report might be when they get an offer and they're like, geez, I think it's too low. So then I'd take the offer amount and I'd divide it into the list price and I'd say, geez, you're at 97.6%. Vegas is getting 98.1 and they're the house. You're in the same casino. Why do you think you're going to win more? So that's just some of I think you have to educate them. These reports are critical when you're educating a seller up front so that you can set an expectation on them thinking they're going to get 100% to asking price. So now you start to show them, well, in 02067, which that's Sharon. In Sharon, the sellers were getting 97.5%. So now when they get an offer at 95.5 because you've divided the offer into the list price, you can show them you're in the same ballpark. Okay? Everyone uses these reports.
What's the path to get to
The
that
other
one again?
reports.
So that is That is in MLS.
Market watch.
And when you go to the top screen, I don't know if you have this because these tiles can move
Yeah.
around.
Oh,
Right, yeah, on the right hand side it says quick links. Well,
Yeah,
this is like-
Oh.
it's there.
It might be different because you can personalize this.
Then just click the one you want.
Is there any report that shows, does this track
I had a touch screen.
for sale by
Oh,
owners?
sorry.
Just, no, to say that
That's why.
people that sell on their own are getting 94% with an agent,
Sorry
or
about
get,
that.
you know, nothing.
Is it
Okay.
cream here, can you change?
I think they gave it to us. Could be in
Probably
a
in a
coffee
bag.
cup.
So this is old hat for Janet.
No, it's good.
Find them?
Yes, hey,
If you find it, I'm gonna have another.
That's just a stupid thing that says sign out.
Ah.
Alright, I'm gonna take the screen again, hit add. Essential
I need
economic, no, I meant
Oh, there
economic,
it is.
Oh, it sucks.
And then
hit save,
save.
now you got it.
So I'm still recording, so let's continue on. So that's about, and then you do your CMA, your market analysis. I always lead, when I do my delivery, I lead with market reports first. I try to get them grounded. I try to get them to see that the market's moving at 96.5%. I try to give them a big picture view before I start getting into the dissertation argument at the table with them across and them defending themselves and why they're so great. And they're telling me about the tile floor, and I say, well, is a tile floor optional or required? You've all been there.
Did we lose power here?
I don't know.
I don't use power, do you use power?
That's what they did just cut my back when I was just closing.
Okay, moving up the food chain. You're all paying for this. Come in.
Should I leave this open because nobody's open?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks. See you.
Hi, Jenny.
Okay, so Greater Boston Real Estate Board has reports. I love these reports. I do email these reports to you, so some people might not know where I get them, but this is where I get them. So if you go to gbar.org, I think it is. I go in a different way, but gbar.org. So when you get to Greater Boston Real Estate Board, there's 6 flavors. There's building owners and managers, commercial builders, residential, real estate financing, real estate rental, and the legal side. There's different divisions. You go to GBAR, and once you get there, there's a little group called Market Data. I like these reports a lot. Little lag time. So just for press release time, NAR releases their numbers around the 23rd of every month. So National Association moves their reports out the door around the 23rd, 24th of the month. MAR releases their numbers around the same time. So we'll be getting the September numbers in about a week. But this is a good report right here. This is GBAR, Greater Boston Association. Greater Boston Association of Realtors covers 64 towns. So right here you've got the kind of public press release types. So it tells you, this is
Good morning, Century.
when you go on the radio in the morning on the way to work and flip on NPR on the 24th, and they say the Mass Association of Realtors or the Greater Boston Real Estate Board, this is what they're going to read.
Okay.
So that is what you want to have on the tip of your tongue because your consumers hear this. Okay? And if you go here, you actually see that when they release that PDF file, they actually have a news release. Okay? So Kevin Butler is the media contact. And if you look at this, there's some good quotes in there that you can use, because this is what's getting put on the New England cable news. It's getting pitched on NPR the morning after. It goes away real quick, but people tend to remember whatever the quotable was. So you have to be in line with what's being preached in the market. The other piece that's usable right here is sometimes I take these and rebrand them with the C21 logos and put them on. There's always a 1-minute video, which is a summary of that press release and the report. Everyone good?
Is this month to month? What is they showing? What are those numbers?
So the
You've never registered?
No, I have, but I don't.
the
know what
report
the
is this.
Monthly.
It's monthly.
All right.
It might say profile.
But when we drill down, it's by county.
What does that say?
So this is the whole market, 64 towns.
Okay.
You probably don't want to show that one,
No.
because you're going to have South End condos in there, Brookline,
Yeah.
Norfolk County. When you get to Norfolk, if you're working in Norfolk, you want to use the Southern Norfolk County.
Okay.
You're probably not going to churn out this whole report to your client.
Is it still that same report, the housing market report? Or is it different?
G-Bar Monthly.
Oh.
It's a pretty big report, 17 pages. But see here, Central Middlesex. See, you don't want to show them this, because you got towns like Acton, Bedford, Boxborough. These are big money towns. Stowe, Sudbury, Wayland, Weston, the W's. Yeah, you don't want to lump this report into
No.
the poor guy from Norwood.
If they come from San Francisco, throw it in.
Yeah, throw it in. Let them pay more. I'm being recorded, right?
Is there more than one Norfolk County?
So there's, yeah, so there's, when you get down here, you want to look at Southern Norfolk County if you're working here. Okay? Avon, Bellingham, Canton, Foxborough, Franklin, Mansfield, Norfolk, Norwood, even though Mansfield's technically Bristol County, it's just a regional thing with the board. But this is the one you really want to show. Okay? And I like the visual. It's got the pluses and minuses. Good?
No.
And if you're savvy and you like to R&D, like I do, I write my own market report. Sure I do. Some of you have seen this before. So that when I go out in public and speak, or I run an open house,
Look at that.
or I'm with my friend Harry at the Business Alliance Group or the Walpole Chamber, I have my own report. Which I did not write. And my view is, let the Greater Boston, I'm being recorded, let the Greater Boston Real Estate Board come to me and say that you're using my information, and I'll say, and you're using my money every month at $550 a clip
All
per
you have
year.
to do is put a disclaimer.
Huh?
All
Yeah.
you have to do is put a disclaimer on it.
So as you can
These
see,
numbers came from blah, blah, blah.
that graph up the top is literally a screen grab.
Yeah.
It's pasted into a text box on Word. And if you read this report, sales activity in the detached single-family home and condo markets, if you look at that closely, so if you go up here, it's going to basically have, here's Jim Major, we are starting to see more buyers act with less urgency and exercise more caution. That's paragraph 3 of my report. So the Mahoney report's not really,
Great minds think alike.
yeah, they do. I know how to get every dollar out of every that I'm using. So you want to, because now if I go on a listing appointment or I'm with a buyer and I stick this in the folder, this guy looks legit. He's got the Mahoney report, right? And some of you have seen that I had a friend who's an MIT grad, because you've worked with me here in the room. My friend's an MIT grad. He's a realtor for 30 years. His name's Bob Filene. And I ripped off his report called the Filene Report, and it almost looks identical. And he still mails it to me. 2 houses later, he physically mails it to my house. So this is a good, for me, this is my marketing. Is that lead router?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, so I like Greater Boston Real Estate Report. Okay, another thing that gets overlooked here that's pretty powerful. Has anyone used Data Dashboard? This thing's a little funky. Okay, so Data Dashboard is a very feature-rich tool. And a lot of people don't even know it exists. But see when you're on the reports page, monthly housing market reports and Data Dashboard. You can access, it says access the dashboard. Then back here, it gives you the username and password. Okay.
Hold on. Where's that?
Yeah. So you're in this screen, monthly housing market reports and data. Then see right here, you're going to need a username and password that's out in the public.
Gotcha.
So now when you get in here, it's going to prompt you. This tool's not the easiest tool to learn. Have you used this?
No.
No. Yeah, that's right. We got you on tape. Is that lead router?
No.
Opposite.
Realtor.com? All right. So over here, in summary, you can start to type in towns. And as you see, it's a really complex tool. I would recommend taking a class on it or whatever they have. But when you go in here now, this is live. So remember some of those reports had lag?
Yeah.
It was like a month, 2 months. This is up to the minute. It's pulling from MLS, putting it into a computer, and then running reports off the data. So right here, you start to get some nice visual indications of what the market's doing in live time.
All right.
I'm going to throw that thing out the window, and I'm being recorded on this. I don't care.
So I'm trying to replicate this for Attleboro. Just to,
Yes.
When I'm doing it, nothing is coming up at all. Like
When you type Attleboro,
when Attleboro goes in, but when I say apply, no
It's off.
information actually comes up.
4 years here, huh?
It's
You
off.
might not last another 4 minutes if I have my way with you.
Sit on it.
Did you get that on tape?
Sit on this.
So this is a good system. I'm going to tell you it's not easy, and I'm a computer guy. You got to play with it. There's some webinars. You know, when I first started using it, I used to go to the intro. Are you on intro? This is one of the issues. See right there, it says intro.
Yeah.
Are you on that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It should be a summary.
correct.
There we go.
And it's not, I smashed my head off this computer for 85 days trying to figure that out. Because I did the same thing. I'm like, why is it not doing anything? You have to go to summary, and then you should start to see things.
I'm seeing empty result.
Okay,
It takes a second.
if you're not seeing anything, you're not gonna like the answer.
It's not there.
G-Bar is not, Attleboro is not one of the 64 towns.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Really?
It
Sweet.
should be, because Attleboro's a busy place.
I'm
Why,
glad I pay dues then.
Well-
why not?
he's probably in another, like, board, technically.
Which was my question initially on is that the right board I
Yes.
should even be registered
I
with?
think
if
it
I can't
is.
get anything out of them.
Well, I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's the best. It's got the most legal stuff behind it, political action money. It's the biggest.
Mike, why don't you try putting out a bar and see if he's
See
doing
if it
something,
does, yeah.
see if he's not doing something that you do.
All right, so all I do is go in here,
You just put out.
click towns.
Because that doesn't seem right.
It's an awfully slow tool as well, as you can see.
Uh-oh.
You see how it's just a,
Yeah.
So if I wait for the list to come up, for the A's it has Acton, Arlington, Ashland, Avon, and then it goes to Bedford.
yeah, it's not one of the
Try doing
64
North
towns.
Attleboro. Go to ends.
North Reading.
Wow,
It's like right on that.
but that's not right.
It should be all of Massachusetts.
Are you on the Worcester board then? Would that be the Worcester?
No,
Could be Worcester.
it might be Plymouth and South Shore Pass.
Well, North Attleboro's in one county
Oh.
and Attleboro's in another
Whatever I
county.
was told, the G bar.
Plainville's not listed here either.
Plainville's not?
No.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
Be
Right.
interesting to see how they are listed though.
So this part is
Not the end of the-
useful at all because
not the
there are
end of the
some
world.
towns isn't there.
yeah, not the end of the world.
Well, there are other avenues.
Right.
besides this one.
So this, just to get back to you, I think this is a good report. Again, the frequency of these reports are about the 24th.
Yep.
This is the stuff, like I said, that's going to get pitched on NPR and New England Cable News. So people in drive time around the 24th, 25th in the morning, this is when you're going to hear the guy from NPR in the morning saying the MAR, or the Greater Boston Real Estate Report, has released their numbers. They're going to grab one thing in there, and that's going to be what people remember. So you need to be the person that has something in your hand that shows the whole picture. Did anyone hear the story on social media? They've got a soundbite of Wheel of Fortune. Has anyone heard
Oh,
about it?
yes, I saw that.
And the guy says,
Yes.
I've been
married,
in this loveless marriage
loveless
for
marriage
12
for
years.
12 years
To
for this
my
old battle
battle
axe with 3 miserable kids.
that she brought.
Yeah. So, but they
rotten
stopped it
grandson.
there. That's what you heard.
Yeah.
Then there was a thing on NPR last night that said they didn't play the comma and finish it off. And he said, no, but really, I love everything about my life and I have a fantastic. But see, that's what people do in social media, and that's what the news is going to do. So you need to have the 17 pages in your hands.
I'm gonna have the 17 pages look like an old phone book with
Yeah.
little tabs in it.
Right. All right. So that is G-Bar. So I think there's some stuff there.
Yes.
That's the Greater Boston, so.
Okay, next one is MAR. So that's Mass Association of Realtors. You'll need your NRDS number. So when you log in, you'll then go to members. And there's one called market data. Now, this is okay for you, Amby.
Yeah, this one I've used.
So in here, you've got town data. Even though it says right here, single family homes, condominiums, I'll just let it go. Lisa. Now let me grab it. Hi, is it urgent? Yeah. She's away from the desk, and I'm in the back teaching. I saw it was you, so I knew you were over there. 21 online. It's going to be in there under vendors, if you have any access there. All right, we'll be wrapping up soon. All right, let go. Okay, all right. I'll email you. Bye. So these reports are pretty good. So we're starting to say, see how it says single family or condo? Those are moot buttons. When you run single family, it gets you to the town list. And when you click Abington,
They have animal needs.
Yeah, that's what this one they will use.
so see this, like Abington, there was a button that said choose single family or condo. The results are actually lumped into the same report. Okay? So what do you got going?
Why isn't September up there?
It's copy.
Oh,
Remember what
it's
the
not
release date is.
the 23rd, 24th.
Everything comes out around the 24th. The only thing, so these reports are pretty good. I like these reports. And they're going to have all 300 plus towns across the state. So if you go over to,
Can you just pick from here, like 3 or 4 towns?
you're going to have to grab it individually.
Oh, okay.
So here's my friends in North Adams.
So you can't have a, okay.
The news number is the login. And
Here you
the
go,
last name-
North Adams.
The last name is the password. And then
The median sales price in North Adams is 129,000. So if any of you want to put the house on your credit card, you can bypass Harry.
Is that what you went to college?
Yeah, they changed the name after I left. We talked about this.
What did you do?
Mass College of the Liberal Arts. They had to liberalize it after I left. So there's every town. I like those reports. Again, be comfortable with these. When they start arguing about their house, always go back to reports. They can't argue that this coffee cup is better than that Contigo mug or vice versa. Right? This old friend of mine used to say the numbers don't lie. No, the figures don't lie, but the liars will figure. Is what he told me. You know, when it starts saying you're going to get 95.5% of their asking price and you're at 94.9, you got to keep hammering it home to them and show them that the house never wins. There's a reason Encore can build a 28-story glass building and give away free drinks.
They're not doing so great either.
All right, so I like those reports. The next thing is kind of just a sidebar. Has anyone have any questions or finding this useful? Back on the reports, you have, here's the pending sales report video. So PSI, pending sales index, gets released sooner, and then at the 24th is the closed.
Okay.
Got it? These videos, you know, you want to R&D, put your lower third, they call it. Anyone do video stuff? Anyone? So a lower third is when you make an image and you lay it over it. All right, now this is just a little bit extra. We've kind of covered a bunch of places to get reports. There's a one-pager. This is kind of millennial-ish. For those of you that don't like to
Yeah.
Not you guys, but the millennials love this sort of thing. Does that look millennial-ish?
Yeah, I like that.
So this is an infographic. Millennials love this stuff. So again, it's a one-pager.
There you go. That one there.
You know, if you're starting to do marketing things, I think these reports are critical. When I was with my last company, we'd get a bunch of new agents and they'd want to go try to penetrate North Walpole. And then we'd show them, you know, they might live over in Mansfield. We might say, look, here's the deal, buddy. You might want to go look at Brockton. $613 sales year to date through the end of August. Selling at 98.9% of the asking price in less than 46 days. Are you going to sell more $300,000 houses, or are you going to sell more houses up in North Walpole? And guess what? When the market starts to turn, guess who's not moving? People with double degrees, MBAs, and wheel and deal in corporate America. They hunker down. No?
Yep.
There's opportunity in every market. So, you know, if you're trying to figure out where to align yourself, these reports can reveal a lot to you. When I started out as an agent, I worked in Milton, 60 Adams Street, Lower Mills. The Neponset River separated Milton from Dorchester. I was in there with 100 agents. The bulk of them were part-time, no-time, social book club types, but they'd eat 3 deals a year. 2 cubicles over from me was Laura Cahill, the best agent in town, and I asked her, you know, how do you get business? She said, I just saturate shopping carts, newspapers. She couldn't really put her finger on it. I'm being recorded, but Laura was a very smart business person, so we got talking, and she told me, you know, look around. They eat up 2 or 3 deals a piece. Look at the numbers. There's only 250 sales. There's possibly 2 sides to every sale. You got 100 in this office. The Wolf's up the street before we consolidated. They had another 50 agents. Now we got 150 agents. Kelly Regi was in town with 25 agents. Success was in town with another 28 agents. The number of deals available was basically 1 per agent. So then I literally looked over the bridge and said, Dorchester's right there, the Brockton of Boston. They were doing 1,000 deals a year. The first 3 years, I was doing 75% of my business in Dorchester because it moved. So everyone wants to go right to the top, but I think there's opportunity if you look around. And you want to look at these reports and kind of know how to use them for the consumer, but also know how to, you know, let's look at Dedham. Dedham's on fire right now. Harry, where'd you grow up in Dedham? Green Lodge?
Oakdale.
Oakdale. I mean, it's just crazy. Median sales price through August, $530,000. It's crazy, right?
All because they think the commute is so much quicker to.
Right?
Because Dedham has nothing more to offer.
98.7% of the asking price. Look at the sales. Pending sales is the number of closed sales that never dipped. Median sales price is up. Inventory's less. Month supply 1.4. I mean, all you got to do is do a little Facebook marketing to Dedham, capture something, and you're going to make a sale. All right, so I think these are important reports. I think another piece that's critical is to monitor news sources. So you guys see sometimes I personally post stuff on my blogs and my LinkedIn. The place I spend a lot of time is I go to magazine.realtor or Realtor Magazine, which is online now. And if you just go to news, daily headlines, they spit stuff out every day. You know, here's your buyer saying that the market sucks, I'm not going to buy. Things are in the toilet. Oh, is that right? Well, here's our own association saying the Fed calls housing the bright spot in the economy. Just like lawyers, there's two sides to every argument. Pick your side and use what you can find. Housing activities displayed further gradual improvement in August, according to the report. Over the last 3 months, single-family home starts and permits have rebounded. A still strong labor market and low mortgage rates could continue to provide support to housing. So you just got to pick what you need. So I like news daily headlines. Okay. And then I also like NAR, realtor.org. You know, here's whatever's going on in the world is going to be over here for real estate. And you're paying money to be in these things, make sure you leverage it. The other one I like is called Housing Wire. Do you follow this one? No. Housing Wire tends to be a little bit more focused on the loan side. Okay, your buyer says, market's tanking, I'm not going to buy. I'm not putting my money into the housing market. Well, the Federal Reserve said, rebounding housing market. Sometimes it's just putting the right information in at the right time. Anyone ever take marketing in college?
Yep.
What's the definition of marketing?
The definition of marketing.
Yeah.
Creating the truth that you want to be seen.
The right message to the right audience using the right medium. You know, there's this guy, Brad Inman. I'm going to hit